a new friend in the deep forest. On a night when the moon hung high in the sky but cast no light upon the ground, Ingfah, a 12-year-old girl, ventured deep into the forest to find her missing dog. She weaved her way through towering trees, with the howling wind and the crunch of leaves underfoot making her heart race. "Mootoon! Where are you?" she called out, but there was no answer except her own echo. As she pressed forward, the flashlight in her hand began to flicker, threatening to leave her in complete darkness. Just as the light faded completely, she heard a faint giggle echoing through the trees, a sound too soft to be human but too close to be ignored. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice trembling as she clutched the flashlight tightly. Out of the shadows stepped a small figure, cloaked in tattered leaves, with eyes that shimmered like fireflies in the dark. "I've been waiting for you," the figure said in a voice that was both soft and chilling, sending shivers down Ingfah's spine. What followed next would forever change Ingfah's life, as she realized that not all who dwell in the forest are human or friendly. "Who are you?" Ingfah managed to ask, her voice barely audible. The figure didn't respond immediately. Instead, it tilted its head as if studying her. Its glowing eyes seemed to pierce through her soul. "I'm a friend," it said finally, though its smile revealed sharp, uneven teeth that didn't seem friendly at all. Ingfah stepped back, her instincts screaming at her to run, but her legs refused to move. The forest seemed to close in around her, the trees whispering words she couldn't understand. "Don't be afraid," the figure said, stepping closer. "You came here because you needed help, didn't you?" Ingfah's mind raced. She thought of her dog, of her family, of the stories she'd heard about spirits in the forest. "What do you want from me?" she asked, her voice trembling. The figure smiled wider. "I don't want anything, but the forest does. And now that you're here, you belong to it." Before she could scream, the figure raised its hand. Shadows leapt from the trees, wrapping around her like tendrils. She tried to fight, but it was like trying to wrestle with air. Just as she felt herself being pulled into the darkness, a familiar bark echoed through the forest. "Mootoon!" she cried out. A streak of white fur darted toward her, and in a blur, the dog she'd been searching for leapt at the figure. It howled in pain, releasing its grip on her as the shadows dissipated. Ingfah grabbed her dog and ran as fast as she could, her heart pounding like a drum. She didn't stop until she was out of the forest, the first rays of dawn breaking through the sky. From that day on, she never ventured into the forest again, but sometimes at night she would hear faint giggles on the wind, reminding her of the friend she almost had in the deep forest.